now.
Thanks. Hi, welcome to YouTube. This is so exciting. Oh, this is so funny because it's like the little tribute before the podcast. It's like bonus content.
Yeah, I like that they have to see us count regardless.
Oh,
That's just
Me
part of
too.
the package.
That it's just part of the package. It's just we're here to have fun. You know what I mean? All right.
Wait, do we remember intro order? I think I'm first.
You are. We go Jules, James, Alina, Nix, and then me.
Beautiful.
Is my phone coming up clear over there? Because it's just a black square for me.
Yeah, I just tried to pin it for myself, and I don't think I broke it, but when I pinned it, it went black.
I can still see it. Okay.
The card cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the card cam.
Huh.
You tried to pin it.
Yeah, I tried to pin it so that it was the main. There, now I see it.
There it is.
Oh, okay.
Can you?
It's sideways for me, but.
B. Hold on. I got you.
Elena to the rescue. How are the rest of us doing? Wait, James, are you talking?
Yeah.
I think with your hanging mic, make sure you're just close to it. You're going to be like Bianca. You just got to be close to your mic.
Just got to hug this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's great. Yeah.
Such dulcet tones.
It makes it seem like it's a better mic than it actually is.
I'm sure it's a lovely mic.
It's such a good
looks
mic
fancy.
It's probably picking up Starbuck barking.
I did hear Starbuck barking. Yes, I did.
Ignore that. Pretend it didn't happen.
All right. Carlos will edit it out.
Yeah, okay. We say it's true famously on this podcast.
My favorite running joke. Okay, the time is 6:48 and I've started my Audacity recording.
Oh,
same.
Cool.
It is currently 6:48. I am recording, and Starbuck is having a great time.
Yes.
6:48, and I am recording, and I didn't know I was supposed to say that last week. So sorry, Carlos.
You don't have to say that.
You don't have to say that.
We just say that.
It's fully
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then scratch everything. It's whatever time you want it to be.
Okay.
5, 4,
3,
2.
Welcome to the Pod Has Been Cast special interlude edition.
Interlude edition.
We
That
are
was
stepping
really
away.
good DJ voice. Not you, B, James.
Oh, thank you.
For sure. I wasn't making any DJ noises.
Check out my resume on the Pod Has Been Cast website. I'm deciding that it exists and that it's there.
Welcome. We are stepping away from the world of the void to enter the realm of Divination, a tarot-driven tabletop role-playing game exploring the esoteric arts. Who's playing with me today?
Hey, I'm Jules. I use they, them pronouns, and I am playing the Emperor. That also.
Hello.
No, wait. Oh, shit. Fuck, I fucked it. I don't know why I did that. I was about to do Emperor's pronouns, and then I was like, wait, I didn't know if that was a thing.
Does the Emperor
Emperor
have
uses he, him pronouns. We're moving on. All
right.
Go. Hi, my name is James, and I am a big fan of smooth transitions. I use he, they pronouns, and I am playing Carlyle, but also the magician who uses he, him pronouns. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Alina, and I use they or my name pronouns. And I am playing the fool who uses all pronouns.
There you go.
And I am Nix, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm playing the Hierophant, and I don't think the Hierophant has ever really put a stake in the ground on any pronouns.
And I love that. And I'm Bianca. I am your diviner this evening, and I use they, them pronouns. Last time, I know, so fun. Last time we built our darling dear Carlyle. And if you missed that episode, I highly recommend you go back because you will be a little confused as to what's going on. But for today, we're just going to dive right on in.
Leaving and coming back to it, Carlyle is a wild name that we landed on.
Carlyle is.
Yes.
Really is.
Yes, it is.
The result
I don't-
of 2.5 hours of hot, sweaty work.
I don't remember how that happened, but I think it's a
But
wild.
it.
Well, and I
we
have
all-
written down Carlyle/Lyle, but I can't remember which one is the one that we're trying to get everybody to call us.
I think Lyle is the.
I
is the
think it's Lyle.
nickname.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
Lyle is the nickname. Car is what Ricky calls us whenever he's annoyed with us.
Oh, that's why we landed on Carlyle though, because like that way, like when he's trying to use like they pronouns, we can also
Yeah.
kind of lean towards Carly if we want to.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
lovely.
Variety in our
Oh, interesting.
presentation.
Hmm.
So,
It's a versatile name.
and that's why we picked it.
There we go.
Sure.
I believe
All
you.
right, let's get to work.
All right.
All right, here we go. The Doreen Valiente Cryptology Library and Research Institute, colloquially known as the Sphinx due to the statues that guard its front entrance, is an illustrious and well-funded library housing materials on puzzle codes of every kind, ranging from the wartime cryptograms and ciphers to internet mysteries like Cicada 3301 or the more spooky like number stations. The location of the Sphinx is historic in nature and receives multitudes of curious tourists and dedicated researchers alike. The land surrounding the Sphinx is gorgeous. The view of the sea is worth the price of admission alone. But inside the Institute is breathtaking. Cathedral-like ceilings making room for cherry wood shelves that seem to extend upwards for miles, intricate detailing along the crown molding with symbols rumored to have been hand-picked by Doreen Valiente herself, and Wi-Fi faster than any other building within a 50-mile radius. Today, the Sphinx is buzzing with activity. Library workers are walking briskly amongst the stacks and tables, ensuring everything is where it needs to be. Competitors are lining up at the registration table or scoping out the competition from the sidelines. Catering, janitorial, and technical support are all on hand, focused on their own preparations for the portions of the weekend. And we find ourselves at registration. We're hanging out in the front hall of the Sphinx Institute with our teammates, Shay, Eileen, and Roderick. Shay and Eileen have hurried ahead of the two of you to go handle registration. And Roderick is a little excited and nervous. What is the vibe in our inner space? What's going on in there? How are we doing? How are we feeling? How we chatting? My aspects.
I think the cloud of fireflies / quiller flies, as James
Yes.
called them before we started today, is just sort of hovering in a cloud, but not really going anywhere, doing anything, just a little bit off to the side of our lecture hall space. This is something that you all are accustomed to seeing when I am in a place of sort of meditation or just kind of focus. I think I am also a little bit nervous, but not maybe in the same way that Roderick is. I'm just kind of thinking about, the competition coming up and what it might mean, the pressure that comes with when people think of you as a prodigy. And so I'm just trying to get myself centered.
I think when the emperor appears in like the shared space, they bring their throne with them. So
Ooh.
the emperor sits in the middle of like the sort of the seats kind of move out of the way as this giant iron throne kind of appears in the center of the lecture hall, and the emperor sits in it uncomfortably, far too small for the throne, with their flaming sort of crown around their head. He kind of like watches Roderick's actions with like a keen eye, like with a resting his hand on his fist sort of on the side of the throne, eyes ever alert, ready for the oncoming challenge. Roderick's intellect is sort of the Emperor's area of expertise. The Emperor prides himself on getting Roderick to where he is, and this will be the ultimate test of both of their skills.
Juicy.
Yeah, I
Damn.
love that. What the hell?
Someone follow that real quick. We,
Yeah, if we could just get somebody.
You know what, James? You go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I have to. I feel like, yeah, so the magician has sort of been there already for a while, has sort of been in the space. I'm kind of like picturing him, the ever-changing sort of face and clothes that he's wearing have sort of settled for now on a little bit of like a button-up a button-up shirt with a tie that's a little bit loose and rolled up sleeves. He's got like a well-coiffed hair, and he's sitting in the middle at the top. Well, it's not sitting. He's standing at the top of the entire area, kind of with his hands on the two chairs in front of him. You can almost you can almost see like a headset on as he's just kind of like preparing for the conversations that he's going to be having and the connections that he's going to make, that sort of thing. So he's just, you know, stage managing, but not really, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I love that. I think that the fool like just bursts out of the beaded curtains at the
Yep.
top of the stairs and like is carrying like random like long body pillows with them. And they've like put on a button-up shirt underneath their like normal like vest that they wear to like try and like look like they're dressed for the occasion of being smart. And and so they like they're going down the stairs and they like set up their pillows or whatever, and they have Asmodeus on their shoulder, and they have like one of those like hand puzzles. It's just like a bunch of rings, and it's like, how do you get them all separate? And they're just like fiddling with it and like staring at the projector, just like foaming at the mouth. Not actually foaming at the mouth. I know that everything we say is true, so not
No.
that's not
Metaphorically
what I truly
foaming.
mean. Yeah, metaphorically foaming at the mouth. I'm
Yeah.
so excited and so nervous.
Absolutely, which is so funny that you have all sort of positioned yourselves in this room, and you can see on the projector screen, Roderick turns to Carlyle and is like a little anxious and is kind of like buzzing with excitement and is moving, and he's like I just, you know, it's finally happening. We're like actually here. And then there's like a moment of silence because no one's standing at the lectern. So
Oh,
Carlyle
God.
is
Like hitting each other.
yeah, right.
Just a little puddle of drool forming in the corner of Carlyle's mouth.
And Roderick is like, "Hey, you okay in there? Everything all right?"
Yeah, and then the fool pops up, I think. To
Bum rushes the lectern.
yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be great. I think I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm feeling a little oh gosh, I've lost all my language. That's probably not good for a moment like this, huh?
Certainly not, but it'll come back to you, I'm sure.
Thanks. Listen, I just want to say that like I'm really glad that we got here and that everything is it's working out. I feel really good about this. I think it's going to be a really great weekend.
Me too. And I mean, the team is pretty stacked. Shay and Eileen, I would trust them with just about anything at this point. I think that we make a wonderful, rounded out, even team.
And we're going to pause there for a second to get to do something that I think is really fun in Divination, which is we get to define our NPCs' relationships. So normally, as we would do this throughout the game, and we might do this as you meet some new strangers, it would sort of like form over time organically. But because we made Roderick in our character creation, we get to define him a little bit now, sort of as a group. Fool, because you are in control, I will let you take charge, but the other aspects, as per usual, always are welcome to chime in and make decisions, suggestions, things like that. So one of the first things we're going to do is decide what Roderick's vocation is. So Shay is a criminology major, and Eileen does linguistics. We are poli-sci. What do we think Roderick's specialty is?
What if
Probably-
we made him Oh, you go.
Oh, I was gonna say we probably need like more of like a hard science, sort of like a mathematics or like something
That's
like
exactly
math is
that's what I
exactly
was
what I
gonna
was
say.
thinking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so he loves math. Great. Mathematics. I know
It's
so
like
much
we all
about
live in the
that.
same mind.
Yeah.
Whoa! Can you major
Mathematics.
in algebra? Is that?
Um, yes.
yeah.
Sure. You
Sure,
know
yeah.
what? I'm going to say yes because this is our world and what we say goes. So I'm going to say mathematics with a specialty in algebra.
Yeah, that sounds
Okay,
like a
yeah.
thing.
I mean, yeah.
Great.
Well,
Why
I'm
not?
convinced.
Can you? Yeah. And you know what? If you are a math major and you're watching this podcast, please let us know what your specialty was and how you enjoyed your time in college.
Yeah, we'll put you in the same channel as we put the debate kids from last episode.
You get your own section of the Discord. Mathematics, algebra, major, gorgeous. And because we have some established bonds with Roderick, he is a standard attachment. So my instinct is to say that Roderick is our best friend. Is there any flavoring to that, or any disagreements, I suppose, to that suggestion as we discuss
I
our
have a
attachment type? Oh,
I'd love a flavoring
let's
of
hear it.
just like a newly understood possibly crush.
Juicy.
Ooh.
Longtime friends.
Mm.
Longtime friends.
Suddenly a little like there's some butterflies maybe. And it's
One of
like,
those
"What's
longtime
that?"
friends. We've like seen
Let's-
each other like at our lowest, and every once in a
Yeah.
while there's a moment where you're like, "Am I? No, no, no."
No. Is
Nah.
this? No. Yeah, it's like
Are we
just
gonna
the two of
no.
you. Yeah, there are moments in the frat house. You don't live in a frat house, but it's a
Frat
frat house for
house.
nerds.
That's basically, yeah. No,
Does-
that's correct.
Does your house have a name? So I know sometimes in colleges houses have names that you would like
Oh,
colloquially
gosh.
refer to. It's okay if it doesn't. I was just curious.
I
I think, yeah, go for it.
the
Yeah,
first thing
Jazz.
that came to mind was the grid, and I hate
grid.
that.
No, that's perfect.
The grid.
That's yeah.
Amazing.
I feel like
Hell
we
yeah.
just
The
like
fool
we
says
saw.
yes.
Yeah, I love it. I think that we saw like all of our friends sort of like watched Tron a long
Oh,
time ago.
shit.
And it just kind of stuck, and we don't really remember why we call it the grid, but yeah.
Right.
That's so silly. I love it so
Yeah.
much. Okay. Yeah. So moments in the grid where it's just the two of you alone on the front porch and everyone's gone to sleep and you're like, is this? I don't know. It'd be complicating things maybe. Okay, great. So I wrote down best friend, comma, maybe more, question mark, which feels correct attachment
Good.
type. And then I want to talk a little bit. One of the cool things about attachments in divination is that it transforms it into boons. So the NPCs can provide a little additional assistance as we are moving through our trials and tribulations. So let's talk a little bit about Roderick. What do we think he's like? What are some buzzwords we think of when we think of our best friend, comma, maybe more, question mark?
Well, so just to refresh our memory, Roderick
Yeah.
is the one that sort of came to our aid all those years ago on the playground with
Yes.
that project we were struggling with, right?
And all of our
Yeah.
books that we couldn't carry.
Oh, the books, yeah, and all that. Okay. So I think Roderick is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Good listener, because that was the hallmark
Yeah.
of that story, was that they picked up the books and carried them
Mm.
and just listened, didn't really pry, but got us to sort of talk about what we needed to.
One more. Good things come in threes.
I think he's also just like really like funny, but doesn't know it. Like
Ah.
I'm getting the vibe that like he says things that are like really funny, like really snippy comments that like aren't mean, but are just like clever enough where you're like, damn, you're right though. You know?
Yes, absolutely. And he's like, "Why are you guys laughing?" And that only adds to the charm. I love Roderick, and we'll be taking the Rads test for him in character later.
I would die for
Lovely.
him.
And you might. Just
And
kidding.
we
Oh.
might.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows? Okay, I think with the things that we've sort of like discussed, very like kind, helpful, a good listener. I'm feeling a little Page of Cups action. Feeling a little like very like kind, very supportive, like a really good friend. So I'm gonna pull
And what Bianca is pulling here is the significator for this character. I'm going to jump in and put my developer hat on
Please.
for a second.
Yay!
Just talk a little bit about, so if there are any tarot nerds in the audience that are listening, you'll know that the significator is a card that you use usually to represent the querent in a reading. So whether that is yourself or whether if you're reading for somebody else and you're representing them in the reading, it's a card that signifies the person that is being read for. And it is typically pulled from the court cards because those are the cards that are these sort of archetypal personality types. And so in Divination, we have assigned those as, we call that the figures deck, the 16 court cards. And we have assigned those as the significators that get used for NPCs. And those boons that Bianca was talking about are connected to the significator that we will assign.
Thank you. And
now
please,
back to
at any
you.
moment, feel free and jump in and explain things because I like to hear when you say the stuff because it's so eloquent and smart.
You
just
talk
like-
good.
Don't open that
You-
door too wide because I can
You talk
ramble for a
good.
while.
Oh, and that's what. And see, the thing I love about D&D and tabletop RPG in general is that we always end up playing characters that reflect us a little bit, and the idea that the Hierophant is made of glowing words makes so much sense.
Oh,
It does.
You know
I'm
what
really
I
hearing the
mean?
glowing words. Yeah,
Aw.
like literally.
just a little boy on a too big chair.
I'm a tired man in a suit. I get it. I guess.
And you know, so say we all. I'm just writing down the boon really fast. So if anybody knows any jokes that Carlos can edit out,
We have to stop saying that.
I
We
think
simply must.
He's not gonna.
Carlos isn't even editing these episodes.
I know. That's why
David's listening,
David,
going, ha ha ha, you didn't say anything to
you
me.
didn't say anything to me.
David, if you know any good jokes, edit
Yeah,
them
if
in
you
here
know.
in the past.
We just have to
Please
stop.
insert.
We
That
cannot
is-
do this.
You're right. We can't. Okay, so we have Roderick, who is our Page of Cups, our delightful little boy. He's not little; he's the same age as you. But aren't 23-year-olds so young now? Anyway.
Wait, what did you draw? What's the?
So the Page of Cups. So I will display it again. just
Oh,
so
okay.
a little
I'm sorry.
look-see. No, it's okay. So this is Roderick's energy. Look at this little
Yeah.
man.
It's a guy holding a cup, and it looks like there's a fish in the background.
Thanks, Jules.
Been out of it.
Popping
Yeah.
out of the cup.
He's got a startled look on his face and a fashionable tunic. As a blessing hops out of his cup, he's delighted and surprised that everyone is laughing at a joke he didn't mean to make.
Oh,
Which-
perfect.
Our boy. So
right.
well. Okay, great. So we are in this moment with Roderick. He's feeling a little nervous, a little excited. We're trying to calm him down, trying to reassure him. Fools, what you would say, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that this calls for a test. I think it's time
Oh.
to do a test. Bum, 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 bum,
All
right.
bum.
First one of the game.
First one of the game. Okay, so this is another really cool part. I can't stop doing it, and I simply will not. And that's what you should have thought of before you put me in charge. What I love about what's really funny is I can't see what Jules's face looks like right now because it's covered up by my Google Docs. So. Hey,
It's
Mom.
all good,
Okay.
baby.
So tests the core of gameplay for Divination, much like rolling the dice in D&D or other tabletop RPGs. We will be pulling cards and letting the spirits decide. So in broad terms, a test determines the outcome in a moment where a hero attempts an action whose success is not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed that we're going to comfort Roderick, but I've got a pretty good feeling about this one.
I'm gonna try.
Okay. So this is an active test. I would say maybe expression or connection. If anyone has, and by anyone I mostly mean the Fool, because you are the one in charge of this test. But if others have any ideas, I'd love to hear
I
them.
think definitely expression. Yeah, effectively convey emotion so as to affect the emotional state of another person or group.
Gorgeous. Okay,
Gorgeous.
great. Okay,
Yeah.
so this will be a test in cups because that is where expression is. You can see my little
Mhm.
spider hand here, but only
And
if you're watching the
I-
video. Okay, great. So an active test, we need a 6 or a higher, which is why you can see this little handy dandy marker here. I love a game with props. And I am so grateful that
Mhm.
this one has coins and visual aids. I think it is delicious and delightful, particularly for a diviner like me who loves visuals. There, I just love to talk. As I'm pulling up the things that I need to pull up.
You're doing
My
great.
words aren't necessarily glowing, but they certainly are luminous and plentiful.
are.
Thanks. Thank
You see,
you.
when I would
So
do
many.
this, when I was like searching for the document I needed, I would usually just go fuck, 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 fuck. God damn it.
And you know what? It was also entertaining. So
And
both
so
work. Everything's good.
I'm going to say for this one, there's very little risk. I don't think that there's a big risk involved in
Right.
this particular test.
Sure.
And risk would help swing the arrow, as it were, to add a little, to make it a little harder or a little easier. Fool, what is your cups? 1.
I get a +1.
Gorgeous. So
Yeah.
we'll move down 1. And then because we are trained in this skill, we get an additional +1. So we just need a 4 to a 10 to succeed on our active test of expression. And now I will shuffle some cards.
Feels like a gimme, but nothing's a gimme.
One, 2, or 3.
2.
Okay.
And for those of you at home that can't see what we're doing, because we're playing over video right now, which is very much where this game was born, we started working on the game just very shortly before the pandemic started. And so we had to very quickly learn how to run a very visual game over video.
The internet.
Yes. And so since we couldn't fan the cards out and have the aspect pull a card out of the deck, we started doing, various diviners came up with different ways of doing this. But what Bianca has done is laid 3 cards out and then pointed to them 1, 2, or 3 to still give the aspect who's performing the test some agency in choosing a card.
Yeah. And I will now lay down the card that we have pulled. Ace of Swords, which is a failure. Almost
Oh.
catastrophe, I might say.
It is,
oh,
yes,
is a
a
catastrophe.
disaster.
It's the worst.
Oh no.
It is the
Pew,
worst
pew,
possible
pew, pew,
thing.
pew.
Pew, 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 pew,
Ew, ew,
pew.
ew, ew.
So
Ew, ew.
exciting, and I love chance. Okay, let's talk about this disaster.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
I'm going to take these away so we can focus on this. The Ace of Swords is a card that represents intellect and idea, the very beginning of an idea, truth, accuracy, and clarity. With this, I think it's really interesting that it's a swords result with a test of cups, because we have come to comfort and express an emotion, and instead we have pulled the sword out of our sheath and are ready to fight. So I think perhaps the words that you choose to use with Roderick, Fool, cut a little deeper than you mean to. I think perhaps you appeal to his intellect. What exactly do you think that you say to him in this moment?
I think I end up saying something about how like he doesn't have to focus on the words, all he has to focus on is the math. And
Yeah.
he maybe takes that not well.
Yes. I'll say that you can all sort of see there's like a moment where some of the students in the classroom are like, ooh. And
The,
I'm
the
like,
cloud of fireflies have a similar reaction.
yeah. We all just sort
You
of
see the emperor sort of just groan.
Yeah, Roderick's face sort of falls, and he nods, and he's like, "Yeah, just the math. Yeah, just the math. I can focus on that. Thanks, thanks, Carlyle. That's a good way to think about it." And before you can say anything else to him, Eileen and Shay approach. Internally, what is the reaction to this in the moment? How do the other aspects feel about this moment with Roderick?
The magician sort of like leans back and just kind of like puts his hands up like behind his head and says, well, okay, look, this isn't necessarily all bad. If maybe we can say that this moment is going to really focus him. I mean, whether or not, like, emotionally he's reacting good to it, at the very least, we know that he's going to remember to stick to the math.
I hate to agree with the magician, but we need Roderick on task. I've always said our attachment to him is a distraction.
The Hierophant buzzes over. The cloud is kind of hovering near the podium now, thinking that maybe I might need to step in at some point. And I'm just quiet for a moment. And then I say, remember that words carry a lot of weight. And it's good that he'll be focused on the math, but he may be distracted by feeling bad or feeling hurt. So if we have a chance to adjust that later, we maybe should take it.
Now,
Right.
I might suggest that we leave it as is, because we can, of course, adjust that later on. But keep in mind, too, it might be important going into this debate to be seen as the better debater anyway. We are on a team, and that is important. But if we are seen as the best debater on the team, that might come in handy as well.
I appreciate all of the feedback, and I will do better next time.
I suppose we'll
Thank
see.
you.
We will find
The
out.
fireflies all just sort of glow encouragingly, very warmly.
Oh, so sweet. Because a test has passed, or in this case failed, control is now up for grabs. So at any moment, if any one of you would like to step in, you may now without any cost. Great. Shay and Eileen approach you, like see this sort of like on the outside. Shay and Eileen approach, and Eileen sort of like looks between the two of you, and she's like, okay, well, listen, registration is all handled. They're about to start a little reception ceremony. Maybe we could grab some drinks, some past apps, perhaps.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I think I probably need something to eat. I haven't had anything all day.
Great. All right. Well, let's skedaddle over there. And you can tell she's sort of like staring between the two of you. You and Roderick, do you guys fight very often?
I don't think so. I don't think we fight often. I think that we're probably very like blunt with each other. But I think probably very specific things hurt each other's feelings that the other says, you know.
Yeah. Alexa, play True Blue by Boy Genius. Okay.
Exactly, and you get it. And you understand.
And you see the vision.
Yeah.
Yes. No?
Who, me? No, you.
Oh. A ghost.
You go for it.
Okay. Great, I will. I will say that you move into the reception area, taking place in one of the Sphinx's larger meeting rooms. Think the 9th floor of the Harold Washington Library, if you've ever been able to go there. Really like an expansive room, lots of sunlight streaming through the ceilings because there's a lot of glass, a lot of like blues, cool marble floor, a few round tables for folks to sit at and gather if they so choose. You can see there are like servers moving around the room carrying trays with small bites and little drinks. There's an open bar in the far corner, a little podium where someone is probably going to give a speech to like announce the beginning, but not quite yet. You can see that there are like teams are mingling in here. Doc Barb is also in this room, and your teammates. And Roderick sort of beelines it for the bar. And Shay looks at Eileen and then looks at you, and then is like, I guess we'll talk about that later. And Shay goes to follow Roderick to the bar. Eileen stays with you.
Cool.
I'll step up, and
right.
you see like the throne just sort of vanishes from the center of the room and reappears on the stage, just sort of pushing the fool out of the way.
Okay.
Emperor,
So when
every
the
time you
emperor
do
is
that.
at the lectern, do you have to stand on the seat of your throne?
Yeah, because that's very funny now.
That's
Oh man.
funny.
I stand on my throne and I like put my hands on the side of the lectern for balance, and I say it's important that we make an introduction to Doc Barb. We can deal with Roderick later. and I'm gonna beeline to Doc Barb.
Emperor, keep an eye out for anybody else that we could use as well while you're out there.
Don't command me, magician.
You
The
walk
magician
on
knows
over.
that.
The magician will remember this.
And for the for the audio format, would you just describe a little bit maybe of what you just did as the magician? Just a little.
Oh yeah, no. As soon as the emperor sort of said that, the magician just sort of like looked down and kind of like composed himself because he knows how the emperor works and didn't mean to overstep, but also does not really like being told back.
Oh no, nothing worse than when your boy king sibling talks back to you. Ugh, it's so annoying.
Brother.
Come on, Brad.
Perfect. So Carlyle kind of beelines it towards Doc Barb, completely leaving Eileen behind.
no.
Damn.
It's okay. The Emperor's in charge. And how do you approach? She is like sort of like in conversation with someone, an older woman, about her age. They're just sort of like politely conversing.
We can't risk being rude in front of Doc Barb and whoever she's speaking to. So I'll just move into her eye line politely, sort of with my hands folded in front of me as like a sign of like sort of reverence and respect, and wait to be acknowledged.
I love the Emperor. Yeah, so you sort of like hover in her like line of sight, like a few feet behind this woman, standing with the poise and elegance of a young boy king with the weight of the world on his shoulders. And Doc Barb looks over and sees you and says something very quietly to her companion and steps over to you. And she says, "You haven't changed."
I will take that as a compliment, I suppose.
I think it is. It's good to see you. And then she holds her hand out for you to shake.
I take it and I kiss it, and then you hear the Emperor go, "Fuck what?"
Which is perfect because we're going to do with Doc Barb what we did with Roderick. So as
No.
before,
please, no.
it's not time to talk about.
Now's the
No.
time.
Now's the perfect time because I think how we define her will establish how she reacts to this totally normal show of respect in the middle of the
Totally.
workplace. So we have a standard attachment with Doc Barb, who is a debate coach still, but is, for the intents and purposes of this weekend, a judge in the competition. I would say she's probably, what do we think, like a mentor figure?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Great. And then what are some personality words to describe Doc Barb? What kind of woman is she? We talked about this a little bit when we were establishing our connection with her, that she reminds us of our grandma, that she's kind of like a take no shit woman, but she's very respectful. Anything else that we kind of want to throw in there, maybe add?
Did we also say that she was the one that sort of helped us understand after the one competition that we had lost the debate, but we had won over the one kid in the audience?
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely very much a part of who she is. A very good teacher, I think.
She manages to define her own like version of winning, and winning is usually I don't know, like saying winning has like a bad connotation, I guess, but like her own version of like what it means to be good going forward. So I don't know if there's a word for that.
Success? Like what? Defining success differently?
Yeah, beats to her own drum, and the drum is nice.
And I love that. What do
Nice
we say?
drum.
A nice drum. I say, and this moment where
What?
if I was Jules, I'd be like, fuck, 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 fuck.
Yeah, there it is.
But
Yeah. The listeners will understand that.
and it's nice to have some familiarity, to like bridge the gap, to have a little fun. I think that she feels very respectful, kind, beats to a nice drum, which is such a funny way to phrase that, but I think it's so true. I'm feeling Queen of Wands. I'm feeling a woman who's very warm and loving, very excited about her passions, including teaching and mentorship. We've got some buzzwords here: protective, a defender, very observational and creative is the real word that springs to mind when I think of the Queen of Wands. So somebody who um, is not afraid to beat their own nice drum. So I'm gonna write that down.
Yep. No, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. And you know what? I'm gonna say that I stuck the landing on that one. And
Yeah, so am I. Yeah.
thank you. I have to do some writing, so you talk amongst yourselves. Talk about a nice memory of Doc Barb, will ya? Or maybe make fun of the Emperor for kissing her hand.
I glare at all
Yeah,
of you.
I think
daring
the
you.
I think the cloud of fireflies are there's a buzz or a hum that comes from them sometimes that you definitely associate with almost a snicker.
Hmm.
I I can't challenge the Hierophant in the same way that I challenge the magician. So I just sort of like sigh and blush a little bit and like look away.
I think this was great. Yeah, I mean, you're really making an impression. I'm gonna try
Wow.
that again without the dog barking. You really make an impression. Nope.
Oh, perfect.
The magician just now has canonically a tiny dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you also have a familiar.
Sorry, that's my sneeze. That's just what it sounds like when I sneeze.
I think the fool is happy that someone else is being weird too. A little bit of solidarity in not knowing how to act right now.
The Emperor clears his throat. It's a sign of respect. It's actually not that strange when you think about it.
And Doc Barb
Chill.
kind of laughs a little, and she's like, "It's kind of weird, but it is also pretty endearing. So I'm gonna let it slide." Uh,
As you can see, I'm a bit nervous.
I can tell. Everything okay? Why are you nervous?
I don't want to fail in front of all these people. And I've already started things off weird with my team. And I know you pulled a lot of strings to get me here, and I just don't want to let you down.
Hey, now, I didn't pull too many strings. I just had him send you an invitation. You handled the rest.
Well, thank you, all the same.
Well, it's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Now,
I-
just because I know you doesn't mean I ain't going to go easy on you, all right?
I hope you won't. I plan on impressing you, impressing everyone.
Yeah, I thought you might say something like that. All right, well, listen, if you find yourself in need of assistance, you only have to ask, unless it's for the answers, and then you're on your own.
Of course. Thank you for your time, Doc Barb.
It's good to see you, kid. I'll see you later, huh?
Feeling a little bolstered, I'll go find my team.
Nice, yeah. They've all sort of congregated around the bar. As you approach, they sort of turn to look at you. You can see that Shay, who I'm gonna say is the probably the bubbliest out of the four of you, probably like your face. I think that a criminology major, being very kind, is somewhat of an oxymoron, but she has to have a good attitude to learn all the things that she learns. So she's the one to speak to you. She's like, "Hey, we got you a drink."
Oh, thanks.
No problem.
I suppose one before the competition wouldn't be a big deal.
No, it's
But we should
okay. I
probably,
think
yeah.
you
Sure.
all
so-
right.
for sure. Yeah, I'm fine. I talked to Doc Barb. Everything. Everything's gonna be fine. And thank you all for being here. And I'm sorry if I'm kind of being odd, but I know that we put a good team together. We put in the work, and we have nothing to be worried about. In fact, these other teams, they have something to worry about.
I would like a test.
No,
I would
please.
like to see how successful this pep talk is to get back into the good graces of your team.
No, what have I done?
Here's the chance.
So let me take a look. Let me take a look. Let me see. I feel like we could do expression again. I feel like that is sort of conveying emotion. But Emperor, if there's something that you feel, we could also do maybe leadership. Move one or more people to action through motivation, inspiration, and command.
Yeah, I like leadership. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, or composure maybe. I think yeah, either leadership, like I'm trying to like kind of, establish
Yeah, I
myself
guess.
as like I am the leader of this team, or composure in that I'm trying to like put forth that I am actually have my shit together and you shouldn't be worried about it. I think it could go either way.
Yeah, well, I'll have you decide then what exactly Carlyle's intentions are and what the Emperor's intentions are here, to define how this goes.
If it's up to the Emperor, I'll go ahead and say leadership, unfortunately. It's a worse skill for us, but I do think it is more in tune with how
But
the Emperor sort of projects onto
yeah,
Carlyle.
and I definitely think that that makes a lot of sense. That sort of trying to sort of like rally the team, and through this like brief moment of vulnerability, but very quickly moving back into business to be like, you know what? No, these other guys, they're the ones that need to be worried. We have nothing to worry about. I didn't kiss anybody's hand. This is going so normal.
I think I will call upon a thing. I guess this is very early in the game to be calling upon powers, isn't it? I
Let's
don't know.
call upon some
I don't
things.
know.
Do
Maybe.
it.
What do
Okay,
you
let's
got
see.
over there?
I'll draw upon my divine masculine. When an active
Ooh,
test of any skill is called, gain +1 on that test. If the test is read as a success, earn 1 XP for each point of risk the diviner applies to the test.
okay. I am going to say that there is a bit of risk with this
I had a
because you've
feeling.
hurt Roderick's feelings, and there was a moment where your team was alone without you, and you're not 100% sure, like, if they were talking about you, if it's been brought up at all. You know, Shay did say something and asked if you were doing okay. So there's a little bit, there's nerves in the air. So
Totally.
I'm going to set the risk to 1. So we
Uh-huh.
now need a 7 through 10. We are not trained in leadership, but you do now get that risk taken, right? Will you read the words to me again?
When an active test of any skill is called, gain +1 on that test.
Great. We're right back down to 6. Since this was an active test, if any of the other aspects have powers that they want to use, now would be the time to do it. Otherwise, I'm going to start shuffling some cards.
Point of order. I've got a power here that's it's a just revealed future card, so I can use this like after you pull the card, right? And
Yes.
that's how that works. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So we
Thank you.
are looking at an active test of leadership. We need a 6 to a 10 to succeed on our rousing speech. I've set down 3 cards. Jules, 1, 2, or 3.
I like 3.
We like 3.
We love 3 in this house.
We do love 3 in this house, but today we do not. That is a 4.
What's happening?
Well,
So I'm gonna lift this up.
Right. I'm going to step in here because
Thank
we have, we have been really blowing it with the team. I'm going to use Well of Spirit. When a just revealed future card would be read as a failure, instruct the diviner to shuffle that card back into the deck and then draw a new future card to see if your faith is rewarded. The new card resolves the test and may not be altered in any way by anyone, though the already active adjustments stand as usual.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
I think I might just draw 1 card for this
Yeah.
That's fair.
instead of letting you choose, because the Hierophant is pulling a miracle. So
That
let's
sounds
see.
like what it is.
Nix, how do you think this manifests in the space? Like, what does the Hierophant do in this moment?
I
to-
think that warmth that I talked about earlier, that when the fireflies all sort of glow in unison, it really feels warm and comforting. And I think I know that I was kind of like I was snickering at the Emperor earlier, and maybe I put him a little bit off of his game. And so I am just going to still hover to the side. I don't want to feel like I'm oppressing or anything like that, but just let that warmth start to shine around and encourage that if there's just a little bit deeper that we can dig into the well of connection here to lead these people.
I
Totally.
love this game. I love tarot cards. Because the card that was at the top of the deck was the 8 of Swords. So this does read as a success. We've doubled the number and we've moved up. So I'm just going to show this to the players and then I'll describe the card.
Yeah.
Um,
Ooh.
What's really interesting about this card is the Eight of Swords is typically a person alone, surrounded by swords, blindfolded. The meaning behind the card is sort of the idea that you only believe you are trapped, you are not actually in danger. But what's really cool about the After Tarot is in this image, someone has come along and is helping the person out of their bondage, which works really well because that's actually what just happened. So the Hierophant comes over and gives this warm glow of encouragement, and the emperor sort of takes that and is able to deliver this speech with a little warmth, a little gusto, a little touch of that hierophant magic. And there is a bit of tension that sort of settles. And Roderick is the first one to sort of lift his drink, and he's like, yeah, those other guys have so much to worry about. And then you all sort of clink your glasses together. And it's this really beautiful moment of team bonding. And I'm so proud of you for getting out of that. What does it look like inside the space as the success is sort of like marked? What is the feeling?
The Emperor sort of like kind of holds out a hand and lets like some of the little quills like sort of move through his fingers and sort of smiles and addresses the room and says, "Of course, we're all a team in here as well, and we should remember that. Thank you, Hierophant."
Wow.
I just glow brighter. I don't have anything to say to that, but I just glow even brighter.
In the outside space, a woman who was talking to Doc Barb earlier approaches the podium and does one of those really classic things where she lifts a champagne glass and she dings a little knife against it, sort of calling a classic move, one I would love to do one day. And so that's why games are a power fantasy for me. So she she clinks her knife against the glass and sort of gathers everyone's attention. And she steps up to the podium and she introduces herself as Phyllis Watterson, the director of the Sphinx. And she says, "We are thrilled to welcome you to the 23rd annual Doreen Valiente Cryptogram competition." And the room bursts into applause. A few of the competitors are whooping, and the champagne is bubbling in the room. And Phyllis smiles and nods and sort of waits for the ruckus to die down, as much ruckus as there can be in a room full of nerds, which, as a room full of nerds, we know is quite a lot of ruckus. And her gaze sort of flickers around the room and lands on you. And she smiles. And then she continues. "While this is a competition, we are not just competitors. We are colleagues, peers, united in our dedication to discovery. You are the best of the best, devoted students, each and every one of you. And it's that devotion that called you here. And it's that devotion that will see you through. The person who will crack the Valiente code is in this room. I can feel it." And there's more applause and more whooping, and Roderick elbows you, and Shay rolls her eyes, but she smiles, and Eileen throws their arms around you and loops their arm through Eileen's and or through Shay's, and then they sort of like hug you both really tightly. And then Phyllis says, "Tomorrow, bright and early, the competition begins. Tonight, I invite you to get to know your fellow researchers. You may poke around the library if you wish, but no cheating." And there's some more laughter because obviously you take this very seriously and you would never cheat. And Phyllis lifts her glass and she says, "May the spirit of Doreen inspire and enlighten us, and may this weekend be one to remember." And the room sort of bursts into applause. And Shay turns to you all and she says, "We definitely have to check out the library, right? Like, we got to get in there and just like start scoping it out."
Despite himself, the magician just says, "Absolutely," just like standing in the back.
I give a withering stare to the magician and say, "Yes, absolutely."
And I will say that since we had a test, which we
Sure.
passed this time, control has gone up for grabs. So if anybody wants to take it, you may. But if not, then the Emperor will sort of continue to motor the boat, as it were. And so
Well, I'll say just because of the kindness of the Hierophant, I'll try to pay that forward. I'll look at the magician and I'll say, "Magician, would you like to join me up here?"
I think that might. You can kind of see the magician kind of like switches faces. You kind of see like almost a Rolodex of faces kind of appearing and he kind of like briefly lands on one that's like, "Oh my god, you like me?" And then it keeps going,
Really fast.
and it lands on one that's like a lot more confident, and he says, "Yes, I think that that would be beneficial, and I think you and I can use some time to sort of plan a couple of things out because we are obviously going to win this, and the only way we're going to do that is together."
Without question. There's like a terrible groaning of iron as my throne moves slightly to the side.
Yeah, I walk up, and as I'm walking up, you kind of see like this sort of like coat that's sort of like kingly. Like if you think of like the king on a deck of like bicycle cards,
Yeah.
just like that, but like kind of like faded. Just joining with the emperor, and I just kind of stand next to the giant throne.
That is so funny. I will say that because you are joining in co-control, that will cost you a psyche. So I'm going to ask you all to sort of keep track of those
It cost
on
me a
your
psyche,
own
right?
sheets. It cost James, who's stepping in.
Oh, okay. If you don't want to do it, then you can just take control.
I do.
If you'd rather do that. Okay,
I do. I think it'd be good.
cool.
We're a team.
Hell yeah.
Great.
We're together, best friends.
Best friends forever. That was the dog. Okay.
What a lovely voice.
Great. So you as a team sort of like move towards the library. You're not the only people who've had this idea, of course. As you sort of like move in, you can see that there are others who are there. As you walk in, I will describe what it looks like now that you're in there. The library is a feat in architecture. The windows are filled with a brilliant glow of sunset, casting the room in a rosy golden hue. Your team was not the only one that took Phyllis up on her invitation. There are a few other clumps of folks moving through the library, sort of like weaving through the stacks, clearly trying to get sort of like the lay of the land. Phyllis is there, standing before a simple framed portrait a few yards away from the entrance. And you can see that Doc Barb is also in the library, walking along the outskirts of the shelves. Tomorrow, the library will be a flurry of noise and activity when the competition officially starts, but tonight, most folks seem to maintain the hushed tones often associated with such a quiet place. What would you like to do?
So are there like clues in here that we're supposed to, or this is just, it's just a library? Or is there like,
So it's just right now it's just a library. But basically, what you have been invited to do is sort of like get to know. A time will be of the essence tomorrow. Is
Right.
everyone is sort of like rushing to complete these like codes and competitions quickly.
Mm.
So this is sort of an opportunity to get to see how the library is laid out, where the books that you might need are. You can also take the opportunity to like schmooze with the director if you want to, or talk to Doc Barb again. Um, or if you want to, you can approach another team. Depends on the vibe in the room, but the Emperor and the Magician are in control. And you sort of like all sort of like look at each other. And Roderick says, "Should we divide and conquer?"
I think so.
Great. North, south, east, west. And he heads off and takes one of the quadrants and like is like heading like further into the library. Shay and Eileen split up and go. I'm imagining like a corner. So Roderick would go far right. Shay goes far left. Eileen looks at you and says, "Which one do you want to go to?"
I kind of look at the emperor, and I sort of like gesture as a like with a hand forward, going, "Well, what do you think?"
Um, perhaps it would be smart to find some sort of books on ciphers. I imagine they must have quite a collection here. So I'd
Absolutely.
say let's head in that direction.
I think that's a great idea. We should start with ciphers, codes, any sort of historical code breaking. What do we know so far about the Valiente code?
You know that it was designed by Doreen Valiente, who the institute is named for.
Mhm.
You know that it has gone uncracked for, I think 23 years. 1999 to 2023 is how I'm going to do
Mhm.
that math. So maybe 24. I wouldn't know. I'm not the math major. You Nobody knows. You would know this. Nobody knows what it is for, because it has gone unsolved. There was no like context left behind as to like what the code meant, which is why it's been infamously difficult to crack.
In fact, I wonder if there are any first-hand sources from Valiente herself in this library.
As a matter of fact, that was going to be my next question, which is, what do we know about Valiente herself? So,
This sounds like perhaps another test of worldliness, I think. To sort of
yeah.
like know like where to go in a library. I think that you're grad students, you've obviously spent a lot of time doing research. So being able to like call upon these skills, to know and to remember like what research you've done before.
Mm.
Que bueno.
yeah, I'm in.
Garge.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna pull up my sheets. David, I would love it if you inserted a joke here. I think that's fun. I think David
we just
inserts
absolutely
jokes
cannot
and
just
Carlos
have
cuts things out.
a bunch of jokes.
In the middle.
I just won't allow it. I simply won't.
You're not in charge this time.
I was
God
gonna
damn
say.
it.
Yeah, there you go.
I need to
I'm
grab
the one
this
sending
lectern
the
from you.
emails. Okay, so we're looking at an active test of worldliness. I'll say that there's very limited risk, I think, with this test. It is a new library to you, which I think would set the risk at 1 because it is so expansive and you've never been in here before. But we are trained in this skill, so it goes back down to 6. Who is taking point on this test? Only one of you can. It's in
Would we get a
pentacles.
point because this has something to do with our like prodigyness?
I think you
Perhaps?
should probably take it because you are like Emperor in Pentacles. So like it's your section.
That's
man.
true. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah.
I
Sorry,
think
I'll-
that's a
I'll
good
do
point,
it.
though, that our vocation probably might come
Oh,
into
yeah.
play here, too. We are an active student
Yeah.
and a good one.
And
And so we're
prodigy.
familiar with libraries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Intimately.
Which I think so. And because we are prodigal, we get an extra bonus. So it's not just a +1, it's a +2, because
Oh,
of what the
nice.
Emperor did before. So we are now looking for a 4 or higher on
Oh,
our
yeah.
active test of worldliness. Because this is an active test, if anyone has a power they want to use, speak now. Cool. I will shuffle the cards.
Jules, do you want to call it or do you want me to call it? What do you think?
And if we're truly in sync, we'll
Oh,
say
if
the
we-
same
We'll
thing.
say
Okay.
the same number. at the
Okay, are you
same
ready?
time.
Funny.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do this.
Mhm.
First try.
Okay.
All right,
Okay. 1, 2, or 3.
3.
3.
Great.
Stop. Totally. There was a little bit of lag there, but that was the internet. That wasn't anything else.
We are not doing hot, you guys. This
No
is a
way.
2. This is a 2.
That's
So
a-
if anyone has anything that they can do to interfere in this moment with this just revealed future card, perhaps with a power, otherwise we'll take the L. But I'll give you a second to look things
These
over.
cards are brutal.
They really
Yeah.
are.
Really odd.
I can
Oh,
Yeah.
technically.
okay.
We'll see if we want to do this. Wait, when an active test is by first. Oh no. When a revealed future card would be read as a failure, take control immediately and draw a new future card to resolve the test in its place, substituting your suit stat for theirs. Gain additional +1 if you taunt or console the failed aspect. But it's an out of control into shared control.
Into solo control.
Into solo control.
Oh, into solo control.
Yeah, so you
Oh,
kick them. You would
gotcha.
kick them both out. Is this happening?
Why not? Let's do it.
Yes.
Ah!
Okay, I'm gonna take this one out of there. So, Fool, what does this look like as you toss the magician and the emperor out of control? I'm gonna move these.
I think Asmodeus reaches the podium before I do.
Yeah.
And just like scooches on like right up next to the book. And like chirps at them for me. Kind
All
of
right,
thing.
stop it. I'm trying to focus. We're trying to focus here, all right?
Fool, get this ape away from me.
Nope.
I'm picturing
I-
like Aladdin's monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what's happening. And so it seems like he's having like a full conversation with you, but you have no idea what he's saying.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
then I come up and I say, step aside. I'm gonna redeem myself.
And then will you read the language one more time for me? I just want
Yeah.
to know. Yeah. I'll tell you what in a second.
When a revealed future card would be read as a failure, take control immediately and draw a new future card to resolve the test in its place, substituting your suit stat for theirs. Gain an additional +1 if you taunt or console the failed aspect.
Are you taunting or consoling?
I think Asmodeus was taunting, but yes, I do. I think I taunt a little.
Yeah,
Mm.
just a little. What
A
is your
soft taunt?
pentacles stat, Fool?
Nothing.
Great. So I'll say that it stays the same because you would go up one, but
Mm-hmm.
because you taunted and or consoled, it goes back down.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. So we are looking for a 4 or higher. This is just
Mhm.
going to be a 1-card draw because we are interfering with the fates today.
All right. I just think you should know that if we had more time to actually have our hands on the wheel, we would have been able to pull ourselves out of this. Now, you can do whatever you want to do, but just please keep in mind that this is very important.
I know how
Ding, ding,
important
ding.
this is.
Interference always wins.
Whoa!
Oh,
My
baby!
goodness. My
So
goodness.
we have pulled the 9 of coins. I really love this card. For those of you at home, this is a woman standing in a garden, resplendent robes. She's admiring the beautiful, bountiful harvest. As her animal friend, who in this instance is a hawk, but in your instance is a monkey, flies off in the background with good news. This is like a moment of fortune, of luxury, of a happy home, of domestic riches. It's sort of just like getting a moment to be like, I know what I'm doing, all the hard work I've put in is about to pay off, and I'm really just enjoying like getting to indulge in this moment, which I think is so fun for the Fool to for the two people who know the most about research and diligence to be like, we are going to work together and we're going to figure this out, and to fail, and then to have the Fool step in and be like, don't worry everybody, I got this, I'm going to take care of it.
We'll
I
feel it out.
lost something once. And
For real.
and,
That's good.
thank you. And then I hope we don't have to pay royalties on that. You know sort of exactly where to go, because you're sort of like looking around. The Fool, in this sort of like unconventional way, is approaching this puzzle of the library, thinking about the people, and you think you know exactly where to go to find. You were looking for like personal resources on Doreen Valiente, right? That was like sort of like the test that we were trying to find.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Great. There is a like whole glass case right up at the front that is sort of like filled with like her like paraphernalia. It's right. So you approach with sort of like a childish whimsy and glee at having succeeded. Carlyle is now in a much better mood externally and approaches this glass case. And Phyllis, who was standing nearby, sort of like admiring this portrait, looks over and says, "Oh, curious about the personal materials in there."
The
Oh,
Hierophant
no, no,
cloud
no.
is going to swirl around the podium and just say to the Fool, I don't know if I was the only one that noticed, but she gave us a very pointed look during the introductory speech, and that was weird. I would like to know more about that.
Too. I look to Phyllis and I say, yes, always curious.
Like that spirit. I think that's very admirable.
And
Barb
then
had
I
a lot
think
of good things.
I think I look at her and I'm like, there's something so familiar about you. Have we met before? Do I know you?
And she sort of smiles and she says, "You know, I think I would remember a face like yours. I'm not sure, but you're Carlyle, right? Doc Barb's old student."
I am, yeah.
Yeah, she talked a lot about you. She was very eager to get you here in the competition.
That's very sweet. I owe a lot to that woman. She's very special to me.
She's a very special lady. You wanted to take a look at these materials? They're technically locked up, but and she like picks up her keys and sort of jingles them, and she's like, "I run the place."
Okay.
Are you serious? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I mean, that would be great.
Well, anything to help with the research. We're all very invested in getting that code cracked. So nothing can leave the library. And please be very careful. If anything tears, it'll be your hide on the line. You understand?
Absolutely. I would not tear anything.
All right. And she unlocks the case. And inside the case, there are a couple different books. There are like some like archival like journals of Doreen's that they have sort of like on display. This is like one of those like educational cases, like like when you go to like a historical site and they're like, this is the great mystery of all the things that have happened here before. But this is about this woman. So she hands you a couple books. There's like a biography that was written on Doreen. There are a couple of her journals that she hands to you. And she says, now be very, very careful. And don't tell anyone I let you in there, okay?
Absolutely. Secret safe with me.
And she hands you the books and she winks. And then she steps away. Would you like to read any of these materials?
Absolutely. I would love to read them all.
Fool, are we certain we're not breaking a rule of some kind?
Well, I mean, she seems to run the place, right? She's the one who practically gave me this stuff.
And she gave it to us with a wink and a nod, though. I mean, it feels weird.
It's a secret between us, and I don't know if this is entirely above board, but I also don't entirely know that we shouldn't take an opportunity given to us, literally.
I suppose an advantage is an advantage.
What's just a little bit of reading, huh? I mean, just a little bit of reading here and there couldn't hurt.
Exactly. And then I think I probably go for like her private journal. You said that there was a journal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you approach a table, you sort of like put these books down. Very reminiscent of carrying around all these resources. You put these books down. Do you sit down or are you just sort of like rifling through the pages, like, paint me a little picture here? Where's Carlyle looking like?
Yeah. I think that like Carlyle is doing the thing, you know how they talk about how gay people sit weird?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
it's just like
They do say that.
weirdly folded up. Yeah, they do. Just like weirdly folded up and like kind of like not paying attention to how their body is. They're just like engrossed in the materials that are spread out before them. I think that Carlyle like puts it all out like a spread so he can see everything, because the Fool is very much about following their instinct. Absolutely whatever catches their eye is what they're going to like focus in and hone in on.
Yeah. One of the students in the lecture hall raises their hand.
Does this happen regularly?
No, this doesn't.
Are they looking at us?
They are.
Close by?
It is in your internal space. So one of the students in the lecture hall raises their hand.
Oh.
The Emperor draws a blade.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the fireflies have all just frozen in midair and directed their attention toward this student.
Yeah, okay, so in the lecture hall, I think the magician is gonna kind of like walk down. He's kind of like grown the sort of like clompy heeled shoes that kind of make clomp noises as you're walking everywhere. And just kind of like walks down with a hand crossed and like one finger in front of his mouth, and then walks down and kind of stands directly in front of this person with the hand up, and says, "Yes, you."
I think things are about to get very, very interesting.
Tell me more
s-
about that.
The sounds of pages rustling and murmured whispers from the outside world shift in an instant. It happens as blood does. One moment blue, the next red, never purple. Crickets lift their bowstring legs and play the elegant song of night. Frogs croak, hidden amongst the reeds that line the water's edge. Yes, water, still and vast, spread out before you like a lake. It reflects the sky above it, sky, your shore, that was sealing a moment ago. Above you, the moon hangs, a crescent, the shape of a sly smile. In the distance, 2 castles, perfectly spaced apart. One glimmers and glistens, white as distant stars or bleached bone. The other shimmers and snuffs, dark as rich earth or a bottomless chasm. But it isn't the cities that catch your attention, nor the moon in her mystery, or even the water, inches deep and clear as crystal. It's the flower. In the center of the lake grows a vast flower. At moments, the petals are the deep blue of a whale's grief. At others, it burns golden as the sun. One of its petals unfurls, revealing perfect, round dew droplets. One such droplet rolls to the edge of the petal, mere inches from your hands. You don't recall moving closer to the flower. You don't remember lifting your hands. You drink. The dew tastes like nothing ever has, like the relief of summer break, the satisfaction of discovery, falling asleep in the car and being carried inside by someone who loves you. The flower trembles. The cities show their teeth. A voice with no sound speaks. You are being used. The artifact is hungry and will need to be fed. Banish it back from whence it came, or risk becoming its meal. And there, just beyond the flower, you see Doc Barb, and she sees you. She doesn't seem surprised to see you, but perhaps a twinge of something, the faintest hint of regret, but then... And that's where we'll stop for the evening.
Wild.
What?
Wild. Is that what
Holy
that feels
shit.
like?
My goosebumps have goosebumps.
That's crazy.
It's spooky.
You can't come into our
That's-
shared space and just mess with our shit.
Yeah, what the hell? I was so in this. I was like, sure, we had like 2 hours left, you know?
Yeah, no. Oh man.
Strap in, babies. We're just getting started.
We'll get that
And
in.
speaking of just getting started, I'm going to somehow segue that into Jules. If people want to get started with us, there we go.
Good Lord,
where?
B. Does it feel so disorienting to now have to like find information? I can't believe I've done this to you for 2 years. I'm just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Well,
I
to be
guess
fair, I had 2 years to get used to it. So
to find
this
it.
is
Okay.
this is only your second time. It's okay. Good time. David will put in a joke.
Yeah.
Listen, you
Yeah,
can
think of something
find
funny now,
us.
David.
You can find us online where all the good things are. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. The individual handles and whether or not Twitter is still a website, who
Oy.
knows? But it's The Pod Has Been Cast. You know the name of our show by now. We're also on Patreon. We're also on. We have a website.
Yeah,
Did
we
you
do.
know that? We have a website. That's
James's
okay.
resume is apparently on there.
Yeah, check it out.
Apparently, yeah, we're adding
Check
a
it
page
out.
just for James's resume. I don't know about that. I guess we're also LinkedIn, maybe.
We should get one.
You know, and we can find us all those. Drop us a review on Spotify, some stars. Throw some stars our ways,
Yeah.
as always. And wow, I'm still thinking about flowers and lakes.
Yeah.
And towers. So I hope that was useful and coherent. I gotta kick it over to Nyx to talk about divination.
All right. And if you are interested in knowing more about Divination RPG, you can check us out at divinationrpg.com. That's our website, which will also give you access to our Discord server and where you can download playtest materials for yourself if you would like to know more about actually playing divination around your table. We also are on several of the socials, but I would say Instagram is the one that seems the healthiest these days. So that's the one where I tend to hang out.
Mhm.
We are at Divination RPG there as well.
Gorgeous. And we're just going to take a quick little stroll on.
Oh!
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, you do
Well,
it.
I'm
You-
not gonna
you-
do
no,
it,
I
though.
want
This
you
is
to
for
do
you.
it.
No, I'm taking a stroll over so that you can invite me into the
Oh,
Oh,
patrons!
patrons!
Listen, there's a shared space where we're all invited and no one's getting in, and that's the shared. Actually, no, plain people can get in. You gotta pay the piper, baby. You gotta pay the piper to get into the Hall of Patrons, and you can be like one of our glossy, nude, bronze, and marble statues. That's right, a mixed media of statues that line the halls of the Hall of Patrons. For those of you that are just joining us for the Divination arc, I want you. It's sort of like like Acropolis type building or Parthenon type building, you
Yeah.
know. And that's and there's a river of milk and honey that flows through it, and
So
that's the
nice.
Hall of Patrons. There's people fucking all over the place. I'm talking
Oh,
about people
yeah.
like Ryan Fearbach, Nick Narcissi, Kieran, Sajan, Abraham, Omar A, Emily B, Luca, Eric Payne, Desmond Universe, Warren Daly, Jonathan Yatsky, Arlo Howard, Adrian, the bad boy of the internet, Olives, Todd Allworm, Michael Sepcott, Matt Hunter, Sam Weissman Holler, Zach Schley, Zachary S. Zimbal, Time Turner, Aaron Sillick, David Moreland, Thomas Boeing, Sarah Witherington, Elijah Sloan, Sarah Harrison, Jerica Hookie, Hannah Bueller, Zelda S., Rhea Strong, Nick Bromley, and my big brother Juan. Thank you, Patreons, for being the lifeblood that allows us to do fun projects like this, bring on people doing cool things all over the world of TTRPG. We can only do that through your support. Hop on over to patreon.com, sign up at any tier you can, and there's goodies for you. There's a Discord, there's bonus content where we can get our shit together and make it,
Of course.
and all sorts of extra stuff. That takes us. I'm feeling a little hungry. I'm feeling a little nippish, a
Yeah.
little
Mhm.
peckish,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And I need myself some sort of sandwich, some sort of a fried egg sandwich, perhaps with some bacon on it. And the only
Yeah.
place that serves it to me, just like the Aki style, that's something. I'm not in New York, but I'm going to James's Bodega.
Hey,
We're gonna get emails.
I'm walking here. It's funny. You'd think that I would have remembered that this was going to happen because we did the last thing. So here in my bodega, today I have some sandwiches for you. Feel free to have them. And one thing I have is something that I am going to be embarrassed about, but is important, and that is Monster, the Beast Unleashed, which is
Not a sponsor.
alcohol. No, not a sponsor. It is
Yeah.
an alcoholic drink that tastes like Monster Energy drink. Now, what is this? It tastes like Monster. It's not any sort of anything except for like a nice little drink. But the thing is, when I was young, I used to drink a lot of Monster, and it made me cringe. I was embarrassed about it. And there's something that I've kind of like come to recently, and it's that like all of those things that made me cringe when I was a kid. I've really kind of like taken into myself and gone, why am I cringing about this? Is it because it's bad? No, it's because I'm thinking about what other people think about it.
Mm.
And that is why I finally got The Beast Unleashed. It's pretty bad, but now at least I know.
Yeah, like scientifically, it's pretty bad.
And you know
But
what?
there's no shame in this house.
No, we kill the part that cringes.
Kill the part that
Ooh,
cringes.
we kill the
That's
part
it.
that cringes. We'll put that on a t-shirt.
Put that on a
Please.
t-shirt.
Pair of silky underwear.
You know,
Ooh.
pot has been cast, people.
Yeah.
Having
We're
guested
weird.
with
I'm
you on 2
sorry.
episodes now, I have to say that I'm not sure if I feel a deeper sense of surreality during our game or during this thing that happens at the end.
Hey, can I be honest? Me too.
It
Yeah.
truly just kind of falls apart at the
And-
seams.
And that's why we like to keep it real. We like to keep it fresh. We like to keep it weird. And we always have to keep it honest because Carlos won't cut anything out.
It's almost as if
Yeah.
we're
I don't
a bunch
wanna hear anymore.
of a bunch of pilots, and we thought landing the plane was the least important part.
Yeah, we didn't go that day. We were like, we'll touch down one way or the other. And you know what? We did. And with that, I'm going to ask you all very politely to get out of my house.
Okay, bye.
Okay,
Thanks for having us.
bye.
Bye.
I hate our show.